Welcome to KRQE's New Mexico News Insiders, 2025 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award winner for Best Podcast. Here's Gabrielle Burkhart and Chris McKee. Sponsored by New Mexico PBS.
When you describe attractions in New Mexico, I think one of the main draws we always recall or think back to is Balloon Fiesta, right? Tens of thousands of people from across the globe descend upon Albuquerque to see this really spectacular thing that you can't see anywhere else. And this year, New Mexico is adding something new to its repertoire, and it has nothing to do with balloons.
Yeah, it's a really different one. For 60 years, the National Championship Air Races, you can think NASCAR in the air, that has taken place in Nevada. But this year, starting next week to be exact from when this publishes, this major event is bringing its racers, performers, and thousands of aviation enthusiasts for the National Championship to Roswell, New Mexico.
Here to tell us about what this means and how we got here is Tony Logoteta, President and COO of Reno Air Racing Association. Tony, you literally just got off of a plane, so thank you for coming here.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here. Did my travel in and happy to stop here before I head down to Roswell. We're really excited to hold the races here in a couple weeks and glad to join you.
Yeah. So to be clear, we're recording this early, but when this publishes, it'll be the following week that this thing gets ready to start. So
gotcha.
Before we get into event specifics, tell us a little bit about yourself. I read in your bio that you went to journalism school.
I did.
And so I'm curious, what has led you down the path to aviation enthusiast and the role that you have today?
Yeah, it's interesting. I did. I went to UNR, that's the University of Nevada at Reno. And I majored in broadcast journalism. I had transferred actually from Chico State in California. I went there for 2 years and then transferred to Nevada. Graduated from there in 97 and did the TV thing for a while locally there, and then ended up moving on and doing some other things and ended up owning my own business, and that ended up shutting down. Went through a bunch of early midlife life change. And and when I was kind of starting back up again, I had somebody who used to work for me his wife worked for the air races, and they said, hey, they've got a position open. Applied for it, got the job, and I just thought it was super cool because I always knew all the good that it did for the community, and that's really what drew me to it. That and the fact that, airplanes racing is just cool. So those two things drew me to it and started working there, and within that first year, just kind of getting engrossed in it, discovered it was so much more than I imagined. It's there's this thing called the September family, which is everybody who gets together from fan to volunteer to board staff, whoever, crew, everybody that goes out there. We call ourselves the September family. And once you're inside of it, it's pretty incredible. So I just, got engrossed in it and just love it.
Yeah. So the National Championship Air Races, we understand, it really became a Nevada institution, and it started in northern Nevada, it sounds like in 1964. Can you share with us a little bit about the origin story? How has it grown into what it has become today?
Yeah, so it started with a gentleman named Bill Stead and some other folks who wanted to bring air racing back. Unlimited air racing had been down for close to 20 years at that point. And they wanted to get it going again. So there was a little dirt strip out north of Reno I'm drawing a blank on the name of the field now. It'll probably come to me right in the middle of me talking. But so they did the first one. They had just the three classes, unlimited, biplane, and Formula One. And they raced that first year and second year out on that dirt strip. And then in 1966, they were able to move it to Stead Airfield. When it was decommissioned, they were able to use the old air base. So then they had, real runways and all that kind of stuff. So they had a lot more space and a lot more safe landing and taking off and less dust, I'm sure. Not that I was there. Obviously, I wasn't born yet. But
yeah.
And then it took off from there.
Yeah. And so now it's really become a huge thing to what it is here today. And I think we'll get into a few other components of that. But just to sell people on how big is this thing today?
Oh, well, it's huge. And, building off what it started at and what it became, over the next 6 decades, it grew, and worldwide, it's the only event of its kind. There is no other event in the world where you can go see racing like we do it with multi-class, and now we've added stole drag too. So it is closed course pylon racing. You mentioned it in the intro that it's like NASCAR in the sky. You have 50-foot power poles with basically a culvert tube that's painted on top, and those are our pylon quote-unquote cans. And that creates the course. You can't fly inside of that course. You have to stay outside the course, and that's the pylon racing. And then we also have stool drag, which is what it sounds like. It's a drag race with an airplane. So 2,000 feet, take off the start line, land after the midpoint, turn around, do the same thing coming back. Whoever stopped first wins. It all happens in about a minute. So It's really exciting, and it's grown so much over the years. The annual, in Reno anyway, the annual economic impact has been around $100 million each year. Yeah. Now, first year here, will it end up exactly? We don't know, but it draws tens of thousands of people from around the world, around the country, and it's a very special thing.
Yeah. The origin story kind of sounds like somebody's like wild idea. Like, what if we had these airplanes that just could race around a track in the sky? That's what I'm envisioning it. But
yeah. Well, we tend to race anything we can, right? As humans, we want to compete. When something comes out, we want to race it. So they started racing pretty early on, and after the invention of flight. So just kept going.
I think just watching some of the videos of the action that happens in these air races, you're so informed by just going to the airport and you see these big jetliners come in. And everything moves a lot slower. And then you watch this stuff and you're like, oh my goodness, they're really moving fast. It's unlike a lot of what maybe you've been informed by seeing just general aviation out there.
Well, one of the sayings is fly low, go fast, turn left. For air racing, and what it's referring to, obviously they're going fast. The jets are traveling upwards of 500 miles an hour on their course, but all the turns are left, of course. But the fly low, the deck is 50 feet. The top end of the race course is 250 feet. So they're not supposed to go out of the 250 other than for safety reasons, and they can't break the 50-foot deck.
Wow.
So
wow,
they're low, and it's
really
pretty cool.
Incredible. Yeah. So because of its long history in Nevada, what was behind the decision to move the annual event that has been so successful year over year?
Well, to be honest with you, first of all, it actually wasn't our decision to move the event. It was the airport authority's decision. Now, we knew eventually it was coming because you could see the development encroaching upon our space there, but we thought we had a little bit longer. So a couple of years ago, I guess it was the end of 2022, they came to us and said, we're going to go ahead and make a decision. It's time. One more event. That way it's not, we're on eggshells each year whether we're going to have an event or not. So we argued with them for a couple months and then realized that nothing was going to change. So we started planning the final flag, as we called it, at Reno, and we did our final race in 2023. It was phenomenal. The response was incredible. People came from all over the world. Total attendance was about 150,000. Wow. It was a pretty incredible event. But through that whole process, we also announced that we were not just going to throw in the towel and give up on the event, that we were going to seek a new home. Yeah.
So that is what you eventually, got to that process of doing. Yep. When you asked for all the proposals from all the other different cities or states out there who could potentially host something major like this air race, what made Roswell stick out? Why does Roswell work for this kind of event?
So it was interesting. Right after we announced that 23 was going to be our last year, that was in March, the announcement came out, and that we were going to look for a new home. Between then and May, when we were able to release our official RFP, we had 38 inquiries from different communities around the nation. So that was really encouraging, obviously, from the start. We released the RFP. Some of them were kind of like the original, a single dirt strip out in the middle of nowhere with nothing around it. So obviously that doesn't work anymore. It was fine back in 1964 for the first couple air races, but it's developed since then. So from the RFP release, 11 of the communities came to 2 bidders conferences in Reno that we held in June and July of 2023. And we gave them a much deeper dive so they could see a lot more behind, what it takes to actually put the event on from a economic and operational standpoint, community standpoint and all that. That narrowed down a few more, and we ended up with 6 proposals. And out of those 6 proposals, then we went and did site visits to all 6. So we had board, we had some staff and our operational folks. We had some pilots from the race classes that went on some of those trips and narrowed it down from there to Roswell, Pueblo, and Casper. And ultimately, then we went on another round, and we did a lot more work to figure out where we were going to end up. And, it was a lot of input from the race classes, a lot of input from us and from ops. And there's just so many things that go into it, from, can you secure the place? Is there sufficient emergency services? How's the ground underneath the race course? Obviously economics play into it. And there's just so many different facets to it that you have to take into consideration. But ultimately, when it came down to time to decide what the best location was, we chose Roswell. A lot of it is there's really no threat of development and us getting squeezed out like we did anytime soon. There's also, it's very safe from a ground standpoint underneath it. There's a lot of flat ground out there. It's very good. There's room to grow. We can actually do an even faster race course for the Jets at some point if we want. So there's a lot of really positive things, and the community was incredibly supportive from the start. I mean, they were just gung-ho for the whole thing, not just the community, but the surrounding region and the state as well. So it's been great. And we knew from the start, it is a small town. It's not a big city. We moved this event from a city of 500,000 to a city of 50,000. So that's a pretty big change. So we knew we were going to have some challenges from hotels and that kind of a thing, but we're working hard to solve it and get it figured out. And we're just excited to hold our first event there.
We'll be right back with more of the New Mexico News Insiders.
Hi, I'm Logan Rader, host of New Mexico Living. New Mexico News Insiders is sponsored by New Mexico PBS.
If you like New Mexico News Insiders, learn more about New Mexico in Focus, a weekly hour-long show analyzing decisions impacting New Mexico statewide. Stream it anytime, anywhere. Visit nmpbs.org and follow them on all social media platforms.
Now back to New Mexico News Insiders.
Aviation is no stranger to Roswell. A bit of history. I used to work in Roswell as KRQE's bureau reporter there, and I learned a lot about aviation from just my time there. Roswell used to be home to Walker Air Force Base during the Cold War. The base closed its doors in 1967, but then the Roswell Industrial Air Center still exists. And as we know from Balloon Fiesta coverage and reporting, the skies and climate in New Mexico really appeal to aviation in a lot of ways. How do you see this first year in Roswell going for the air races?
Well, I think it's going to go well, and I think it's going to be bumpy. It's a first year in a new location from a very different location. Now, from a site standpoint, it's actually kind of similar. I mean, I think Stead Air Force Base was decommissioned in 1966, so they're basically within a year of each other. So very similar origins for the airfield. But it is a commercial airport as well, so we have a little bit of, different circumstances to deal with there. We didn't have that at Stead. It was just a GA airport, so the whole thing shut down for our event. But I think it's going to go well. I think we're going to have, there's challenges. There's going to be little bumps. Anytime you do something new and you do something different and you do something big, you're going to run into some challenges, but we'll overcome them.
You mentioned the air traffic, right? Who controls the air traffic control for the event like this? Like, we have the Roswell Airport, obviously, but do you guys bring in your own crew?
So for our event, yes, but we don't touch commercial stuff. That's still the FAA tower when the commercial stuff happens. So we will stand down during the one or two flights that come in during our event. I'm trying to remember how many there are exactly, but if there's a commercial flight coming in, FAA tower will take over. Yeah.
Interesting.
If you can tell people, we talked a little bit about this earlier, but if you can tell people who aren't familiar, what should they see? What should they expect to see? We mentioned, NASCAR in the air, or an air show on steroids is kind of another way of looking at it, right? With civilian and military aviation performances. Just tell us, what all will people see here?
Well, one of the things I want to talk about is you were talking about the history of the airport a little bit ago, and one of the aircraft that used to be stationed there was the B-29. And we actually just found out last week we're getting a B-29 Fifi out of Texas, out of the Commemorative Air Force. They're going to bring it out. So that's a big, fun, exciting, rare airplane that we're going to be able to have out here. So, and it's kind of an ode to the history of the airport itself, which is pretty cool. But the event, so this year we have 5 classes of racing. So we'll have the Formula One, the biplane. Those are small aircraft racing about a 3.5 mile course. We'll have the T6s, which are World War II era trainers. They race about a 5.5 mile course. We'll have the jet class, which races the 9-ish mile course, and they're the really fast ones. Those are the 525 mile an hour aircraft. So that's a lot of fun. Still drag, I mentioned earlier, drag race in a plane, but we'll also have an accompanying air show. So we're going to have some some Warbird aircraft that'll be coming out. A couple of them from California, from Palm Springs Aviation Museum, which is really cool. Bunny, which is one of our racers in our unlimited class, which won't be here this year, but next year. That's what we're working on. But we'll have a couple of the aircraft that normally race in that class that'll be here performing, doing a demonstration. They'll be flying together. You'll have a P-51 and a P-63, which is the P-63 is also a very rare aircraft to see. We'll also have a Corsair here doing a demonstration, and we'll have your fun air show stuff. We'll have a flip-flop act out here. Philip Steinbach does an awesome job in a Gamebird GB1. We'll have Jim Pites out here with an aerobatic bonanza, which most people don't picture, but it's really cool. Bob Carlton, actually, local story. So Vertigo Air Shows. He's from, I forgot the name of the town. Starts with an M, and it's just a couple hours away from Roswell. But he flies a jet-powered glider, which sounds weird, but it's really cool. It's a very neat show. And then
Jet-powered glider.
Bill Brack runs a jet car. So we'll have a very fun air show for people to see. So you'll have races and air show all mixed together. You'll have lots of static displays on site. I talked about the B-29, but also be a B-25 and some other things. And vendors and exhibitors and food and all that good stuff.
Are these like all-day events?
Yes. So
Okay.
the event starts on the 10th of September, which is Wednesday. We'll have we'll finish our qualifying first thing in the morning, and then the event kind of kicks off around 11 or 12 when the races will kick off. And then it runs through Sunday, and it's racing and air shows all day long from roughly 8:30 to 4.
Okay. Wow. And we're hearing that hotels are already like booked.
Pretty well booked. There's a few left, I think.
Okay.
Not a ton, but a few.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Similar to an air show, people will be able to just physically walk up to some of these aircraft and talk to the pilots too, right? What kind of training or qualifications did these pilots have to go through to participate in the championship races?
So we have an event called Pylon Racing Seminar, and we do that we've done it in June for the last 25 years, but this year we did it in May here because we were told June might be a little hot, so we moved it back to May. So we'll be doing it in May here, but that is our training event, and that's where people get certified to race. So they have to go through training within each class, so class-specific training. Each class there's certain parameters on the number of hours and all that stuff that go in before they even consider someone to race. But then they go there. FAA is a part of it. Our operational team is there, and it's all geared towards safety. It's making sure that anybody who's attempting to race is safe. So they go through the training. It's both classroom and in the air. And if they are certified, meaning they pass basically, then they're able to race in the event. And all pilots have to either participate in the event or PRS within 3 years. So if someone doesn't do either over 3 years, then they have to go back through PRS as a student again.
So that Farewell Nevada event for the National Air Races drew well over around 120,000 unique attendees, about 150,000 people in total. So some of those might get double counted over those 2 days there. But obviously that's quite a few people. It's moving cities, though, for the first time.
Right.
Do you expect that same kind of crowd in Roswell? I would imagine there's going to be some difference there. But what are you expecting in terms of, how many people will be coming out to an event like this here?
Right. It's we don't know for sure, obviously, because we still have some time left, and there's always a lot of sales right during the week. Mm-hmm. So we're getting pretty close, though, and have a pretty good idea. That was a bucket list year. So anybody who ever thought about coming and had heard about it didn't want to miss that year. Yeah. So those numbers are pretty outlandish. And, Saturday of that year, it was hard to walk, let alone drive a golf cart anywhere.
Wow.
On an air base.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Really wide open.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It was basically their
Absolutely.
last chance to see this in Reno.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So expecting, though, a pretty sizable crowd.
Yes, absolutely. We're still expecting a solid crowd. I mean, overall attendees, we're probably looking at 80,000 maybe, something like that, and unique in the 40 to 50, hopefully.
Very cool.
We'll see how it all goes at the end of it.
And it's not like this is one and done. Like this is going to be an annual event now in Roswell.
Absolutely. This is a huge move. And there's so many moving parts, and there's been so much to do, and so many people have worked so hard on it, from the state to the city and county, of course, back to our folks that are scattered all over the nation. I mean, we have volunteers that come from all over the nation to help us put on this event. And a lot of our leadership in that side has actually followed us here from Reno to say, hey, we'll at least help you for the first couple of years to get this thing going. Cool. But no, it's long term. Don't ever want to do this again.
Yeah.
We don't want to move again. No. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the folks in Roswell will appreciate hearing that. They
absolutely.
would love to welcome this event here for many, many more years to come, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And so obviously first year hiccups, but like you're on a board and stuff in Reno. Will the kind of command staff and the organizers still mostly be in Reno, or are you going to have people in Roswell kind of like making their own team?
It will transition, and we're starting to transition already. We have a couple employees here now. We've been kind of looking the whole time. We still have the core staff that's done it for a long time that lives in Reno. Obviously, if people can't relocate, they can't. I mean, for me, I'm there, I'm married, I've got 4 kids, and they're all there, and, relocation doesn't work for me. So I'm in that boat. But we have a board that is consists of 12 members right now, and we actually have a few from around the country. We have one local, although our chairman has bought a second house in Roswell, so he's definitely committed. He has a house in Florida and a house in Roswell now, so he splits time between the two. Yeah, so we're from around the country, and we still have, I think, 5 or so that are local to Reno that are committed to helping get it going. And
but it's possible to put an event up like this from basically another state over.
It is. The way the economy and business kind of works now anyway is you do so much online and by phone that it is possible to do a lot of it that way. There are challenges with some of the local stuff, so we definitely need more, and we definitely want to transition. I know the organization's goal is to transition in here, but it's working, and we'll do it until we can get it all figured out.
What's the long-term potential for growing this event in Roswell, you think? If hotels are already selling out this year, can the city of Roswell hold more people and more participants year over year?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we definitely have is a lot of RV space and also area to park aircraft for fly-in traffic. So we definitely have a lot of that this year, but there's way more potential for growth in both of those areas. So those are some big growth potential areas. And, proof of concept first year, we put this first event together and have a good event. And then I think people will see, oh, wow, that was cool. And actually it went pretty well. So I think it'll grow from there.
We'll be right back with more on New Mexico News Insiders.
Hi, I'm Monica Wicki, host of New Mexico Living. This episode of New Mexico News Insiders is sponsored by New Mexico PBS. If you enjoy New Mexico News Insiders, check out New Mexico in Focus, a great source for insights about what's happening in our state. Catch their podcasts and videos at nmpbs.org or stream it anytime, anywhere on the free PBS app. Now, let's continue to New Mexico News Insiders.
If you are an aviation enthusiast out there who might be listening, what do you say, or who would you say might be on their radar for this year's event? What do you think, they should know about just what exactly will be on the radar here this year?
Oh, as far as like from an aviation enthusiast standpoint?
Yeah, it's moving places.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
You're going to see something that you can't see anywhere else. If you love aviation, this is one of those things you have to do in your lifetime. You just have to. It's like going to Oshkosh in Wisconsin. It's so unique. You're just not going to go anywhere else and see air racing like we do it. You can see a single class here and there, but you're not going to go see it like we do it. It's wingtip to wingtip racing, not time trials. This is eight airplanes in the sky at the same time racing around a track against each other. When I was obviously in Reno, now we're in Roswell, but when we were in Reno, when I started traveling for work and going to other shows and going to conventions and things like that, I would meet people and they'd see the name tag or badge or whatever, and they'd say, "Oh, you're from Reno." I'd say, "Yeah, I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to do Reno. I've always wanted to go to Reno." And they weren't talking about the town at all. They were talking about the event. They actually referred to the event as Reno.
As Reno.
Like it gave Reno an actual identity in the aviation world. So that's what we wanted to do to Roswell.
When I think NASCAR, though, or like racing in general, you mentioned competitiveness. Are there particular pilots or names that people will recognize this year that are just like some of the best of the best?
I think they will if they're fans of the event. I think they'll know them. People that are aviation enthusiasts that haven't followed the event might not, but those who follow the event, I think will know. And we've got our lineup online, and I think you have people from all walks of life.
Do you have any favorites of watching?
I am not allowed to have favorites. I love them all.
Okay.
Gotta play down the middle.
That's right. I love them all. They're all great.
Fair enough. Well, for those who are not, like you said, aviation enthusiasts, this is new to New Mexico, and you're probably going to be building a lot of fans.
Right.
What's your pitch to someone who's never heard or seen anything like this before?
My pitch is my own experience. So in my experience, I'm not a pilot. I was not an aviation enthusiast. I always liked flying when I was younger. But when I went to school in Reno, I had a roommate, and he was like, "Hey, we got to go see the air races." And I was like, "The what?" And he said, "Got to go see the air races." I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, we'll go. So we went, and it was like, this airplane's racing. What? This is like the coolest thing I can imagine. So my experience was just, this is amazing. It's unique. It's exciting. It's just this awesome sort of piece of Americana that we have here, and it's in Roswell now. And you're not going to see anything like it anywhere else. And it is absolutely raise the hair on the back of your neck, exciting and fun, and whole family will love it. Come see it. It's amazing.
Well, when you think about the economic boost too, let's say on the low end, 50,000 people come to Roswell for this thing, and then year over year it grows.
Yep.
What does that do for an economy like Roswell?
Well, it does a lot, because all those numbers that I talked about earlier, those are only based on the out-of-town traffic who came in solely for the races. So out of that number, they broke it down to, I forget what it even came down to, but the economic impact that year was 150 million, but we don't go too far with that one. It brings a lot in, from hotels to shopping and food. They spend money everywhere. Tourism type stuff they go to other businesses. They visit areas. There are different attractions around the area. In Reno, we had Lake Tahoe. Here you have Carlsbad Caverns, and you have Ruidoso, and a lot of things for people to do on the other days, because not everybody wants to go see the races. Sometimes a spouse might not want to, or sometimes they come for a couple days to do that, and then they want to go see other things that are near on the other days. So it brings a lot to, not only to Roswell, but to all the surrounding communities as well, across kind of all spectrums of the economy.
Yeah. Well, it certainly is going to be something I think we're going to be paying attention to see how everything goes here this year. And I think it's a very exciting thing to see a nationally known event, internationally known event, probably to some level here too, pick Roswell as his new home. So, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
I think
we'll have to add it to our bucket list.
exciting. Yeah.
There you go. Got to come down.
All right.
It's a blast.
Well, thank you again for joining us. Anything else you'd want to leave people with?
I encourage everybody to come check it out. We want to see as many folks from around the region come check it out. It's an incredible event. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's something new and exciting for New Mexico and for the southeast.
Yeah.
I got myself
You're
all
good.
turned around. It's something
We're
new.
in the Southwest,
I know.
but it's the southeast
Exactly.
part of the state. Yeah.
That's what twisted me up.
Yes, I did that actually on one of our stories
Did you?
here earlier, so I feel you. Yeah, it's okay.
Something new and exciting for Southeast New Mexico in particular. And I just encourage everybody to come check it out. It'll be a lot of fun.
Thanks again to Tony Logoteta, the president and CEO of the Reno Air Racing Association, talking about the National Championship Air Races here coming to Roswell September 10th through the 14th. That's a Wednesday through Sunday. Again, first time event for the area and should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, we can't go there this year, so we'll be seeing footage, but I'm excited to go to it one year. I think it would be really cool to see.
Yeah, and just another unique story for that airfield out there, which has so much interesting history. Some of it we touched on there.
A very
much more
storied
out
history in Roswell. We could do a whole other podcast series
plenty
about
of cool
Roswell.
stories about that place. So if you have any ideas, let us know. I'm at Chris.McKee at krqe.com, also at Chris McKee TV.
And I'm Gabrielle.Burkhart at krqe.com via email and gburknm on social media. Thank you all for listening and watching.